Hello Cheeseheads, welcome to a quick video about transfer rumours with me, Franco, and joined with HG. We're just going to discuss some of the recent rumours that we've seen in the press around the Spurs team. One that just doesn't seem to be going away. We've discussed the midfield issues for a long time. A player that's mentioned that he wants more first team football, but it's not really looking too likely that he's going to get it. Still a sub appearance here and there from him. Mr. Harry Winks. HG, what do you think about these latest rumours to Valencia? Does he really going to want to go to Spain?
I have a feeling that people are just using Spanish teams because he's got a Spanish relative and apparently he can order 3 beers in Spanish. I don't know. It doesn't seem a smart move for anyone, if I'm honest. Like, Valencia may need a player, but surely they're going to want someone who knows the Spanish game a bit better. Like, we all know what Winks can do, but yeah, will it translate? Who knows? And it just seems they've taken two things that might be possible and tried to create something. I don't think Winks would leave for Spain. I'm not really sure he should be leaving Tottenham anyway. If he wants a few more games, yeah, where's he going to go? I mean, he's going to stay in the Premier League, but Spurs won't want that. So it just, as much as Winks might want it, I just can't see it happening.
No, me either. Okay, well, let's talk about some rumours of players coming to Spurs. Got a few Germans here.
That's what we want. We want new players at Spurs. This is much more interesting.
Exactly. Got a few Germans lined up. First of all, one that I think you're pretty familiar with is Julian Brandt. You know, he's kind of a versatile midfield player again, can play in several positions, predominantly on the left, and he contributes to goals. I think it's something like a goal or an assist every 3.5-ish games in his career. So he contributes, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. And the interesting thing is that he's never really been the main man anywhere. Like, he left, I think it might have been Werder Bremen, but he was there as a youngster and then went to Leverkusen very young and kind of came through the ranks at Leverkusen. And yeah, it was always with Havertz being there and Leon Bailey being there. He was one of a group of youngsters. And he got his big move to Dortmund, and I thought, okay, now he's going to kick on. But at the same summer, so did Torgan Hazard, so did a whole bunch of players join Borussia Dortmund that summer, and he's never really been a first choice. He's always been a squad option. I think he's a really good player, but yeah, if you ask me where his best position is, I'm not really sure. He likes the space out wide, but he's technical enough to thrive in the centre. He's tall enough to almost be similar to Havertz. He's over 6 foot, Julian Brandt, so I like him. And I think that Dortmund may well be losing out if they do let him go. I think he's a player that I would want to see in the Dortmund team every game if I was a Dortmund fan. But yeah, I don't know. If it was going to replace someone like Lucas or Lamela, then of course I'm interested, right? But he's younger, and I do think that he has the versatility that's required. But I'm not sure he has the mentality that Mourinho would like. So, even though I might like the idea of it, I can't see it happening.
No. And it's difficult playing on the left. Is he going to replace Son, and how does he really fit into the Spurs team? It's a good player, technically very sound, but I'm not too sure whether he's going to be the right option. Another player from the Bundesliga is Leon Bailey. He's contributes plenty of goals and assists for Leverkusen, doesn't he?
Yeah, but Bailey is, if you look into his history, it's a really interesting story to see how he came across from Jamaica at a young age, played in various European countries before ending up in Germany. But it's just I have a feeling that this one's more likely. Leon Bailey, his mentality probably isn't the Jose mentality, but he's got that it factor. Like, he's capable of being sent off. His temperament may not be the greatest, but he can score goals. And we've talked about this before, I think, on the actual pod, that a left footer that can cut in and shoot is someone that we would need on that right hand side. And Leon Bailey's played as a wing back before for Leverkusen, so he obviously does have a defensive side to the game. I still don't know if it's going to be enough for Jose. That's the thing. He's quite temperamental. He's quite inconsistent, or at least he has been until maybe this season. Leverkusen have had a good start to the year, and Bailey's been a major part of that. So I think there's a possibility that Bailey might come, but I don't see it happening in January. No. It would have to be a summer move. Finding transfers in January is going to be actually quite difficult.
Yeah, it's more players that aren't playing, or teams that want to get rid or restructure maybe a little bit. And you're right, when Bailey's kind of doing well and he's a main player for Leverkusen, it's unlikely. A player in a similar position who might be, and we seem to be getting linked with loads of Inter players at the moment, is Ivan Perisic. What do you think? I mean, I just don't see a position for him in the team, as quality as he is.
Perisic is the one left footer that I suspect we might need in an attacking position. So even though he does like to play on the left, which is where Bergwijn wants to play, and Son is usually better, we've got quite a few options down there, but we don't have a left footer because Bale, the only one we have, doesn't want to play there. Would rather play on the right. And we've seen many times this season that Lucas is usually the one that's shunted out to the left in those squad games. Let's say the Europa League or cup games or whatever.
Yeah.
And so Perisic, yeah, he may well be an improvement on that, but we're talking loan. The idea of signing him is just too short term for me. Yeah. I don't want that to happen, and I think Inter, if they're probably going to want to. They're probably going to want to sell him. It's just weird because Perisic played in the Champions League final not too long ago, right? He won it with Bayern, so he's obviously got something, and he wouldn't be a bad member of the squad. But yeah, I guess that part of me is thinking, no, I want more than just 6 months from someone. Yeah. If we're going to loan someone in, they have to be with us for a season and a half, not just half a season.
Yeah, no, agreed. Sticking with Inter, the defender that won't go away. But none of us really seem to impress. The few of us have watched him play now, and I don't understand if Skriniar's really an improvement on anything we've got.
What do you think about him then?
Well, it's difficult sometimes for a defender to really stand out. You watch a game of football, you don't tend to focus on a defender unless he's playing against like a world-class player and he manages to completely shut them out. He just seems like a very functional, average defender, and I'm not sure whether he's going to be a vast improvement on anything we've got. I think the only thing is that we've got players like Toby that are maybe on their way out, and we're looking for a long-term replacement. But I don't know, is he that? You've got players like Rodon, who need to get game time, and we've invested money in him, and I think that it would be much more sensible just to see him sort of integrated in the team a bit more.
It's true. Like Skriniar, if he comes, to me is a replacement for Davinson Sanchez. Like he's not an addition. Sanchez is on his way out, most likely Sanchez, and Skriniar would come in. The weird thing with Jose and his centre backs is that he does tend to have a certain type. When he signed Kurt Zouma for Chelsea, there was this understanding that he's one for the future, but for Mourinho he was always the best centre-back at Chelsea, and you could never understand why he got loaned out to Stoke and Everton and wherever else he went. And only really now under Frank Lampard has he become one of pretty much their main centre-back, with Thiago Silva just coming in to help out this season. If Zuma's the type of defender that Mourinho likes, then maybe Skriniar has it, but there's something ungainly and robotic about Skriniar. There's the Eastern European feel of, he can run, but can he think? He can tackle, but is he good on the ball? And I think when you look at defenders, certainly at Spurs in the last 5-6 years, we've got used to seeing defenders that can play with the ball, that actually look like midfielders who can defend. And Skriniar is very much an old school defender. Like, you're not going to want him to do anything else apart from, basically stand on the edge of the 18-yard box and head everything away. And I don't know. Like, it's definitely a Mourinho signing. It's not one that I would go for because I still think we need a left footer, and Skriniar's not even that.
No. And I think the problem is that Sanchez, all the issues that we've got with him, at least he's pacey, so he offers that different option, which Skriniar doesn't do because he's not particularly pacey. I just think he's very similar to the players we've got. And you're right, we've got Rodon, who looks like he can actually pass a football. He looks quite confident on the ball. So I'm not sure about that one. But a short-term option that has been touted recently is Militao, another Brazilian who's made his way over to Portugal. He's played at Porto and played really well, and then got a massive signing to Real Madrid, and 50 million euros or something like that. But last season he was kind of a bit part player, and this season he's hardly featured at all. So a loan move for him, HG, maybe?
Yes, I think it would be in everyone's interests. If we do need a centre back, that someone like Militao could work. It's a strange one because to me, he was always considered the long-term replacement for Sergio Ramos at Real Madrid. Ramos is out of contract in the summer, so Militao might think, I've got a chance to get some games before I go back and really become the man. And then you've got, does Levy really want Spurs to be used like that? It's an odd conundrum where you want someone who's going to improve your team, but you want to have at least the option of buying them if things go well. And that's where I think that that might be the problem. Real Madrid, no one really knows who's going to be their manager next year. No one really knows if Zidane is ever really secure. They do know that they're going to need a centre-half, and if they've got one in-house, it does make me wonder who's been playing, ahead of him, because I assume there's a third choice who's ahead of him, who'd get more game time than what the Militao's had. But yeah, it's a tough one because he's not proven in a big league. He might be like Ruben Dias, who came straight from Portugal to England and looks the business, or he might just be someone who struggled under the weight of pressure of all that money at Real Madrid. Because as much as Man City spent a lot of money on Ruben Dias, they don't have anywhere near the media presence or the pressure from the media that Real Madrid do. Man City can kind of just get on with life, and Real Madrid, clearly the biggest club in Spain, well, certainly one of the two. It's a different kettle of fish. So I think it's more possible because we do seem to like a loan, and I assume since he speaks Portuguese that Jorge Mendes, Pedro Mendes, that Mendes is his agent, and that's always, I think, if we're going to look for players for Spurs, we should look at their agents first, almost.
Yeah, no, you're right. He's got Varane ahead of him at Real Madrid, I think.
So you've got Varane and Ramos as the two, but considering he's played so little for Real Madrid, you'd think there's a third choice in there as well. Is Nacho still there? I don't really care. But
Nacho is still there, at the age of 30.
Yeah, so. It is interesting to me. Like, he's clearly still young and has a massive future, but was Real Madrid a jump too early? Let's say I don't know. But
it happens to a lot of players. Real Madrid do this, don't they? They invest in youngsters and they don't always make it, and they have to be loaned out. But okay, cheers for that, HG. It's very good. I guess because we've got the Fulham game, we're not going to talk about it too much. But are you confident about tomorrow night's game?
Yes, because Fulham are throwing a hissy fit about it, which just makes me think that they're not going to be mentally prepared at all. It's very odd.
It's harsh on them, though, don't you think? Because they would have been preparing for the game was supposed to be on Friday, wasn't it, against Chelsea?
Yeah. It's harsh in the fact that if they've been given a couple of days off to prepare for the Chelsea game, then yes, it's harsh. And I do think that the Premier League should have told Fulham, Thursday or Friday when they knew that there was going to be issues at Villa, because everyone knew. We were discussing it before the weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's tough on Fulham. Having said that, they've played one game in a month, pretty much, or it feels that. They played on Boxing Day and then they played at the weekend. That's it. That's all they've done in the last 2.5-3 weeks. And so, yeah, I understand, but they would have prepared for the Spurs game when it was supposed to be played. What's the difference? Basically, you've given people days off and now they have to come in. I'm sorry, that to me is not enough of a concern. They've only played 19 games so far this season. We've played 29. Wow. I feel sad for them that it shouldn't have happened the way that it did. But I don't feel sad that they have to prepare for a game because, they're professionals. It strikes me as being very, very basic to turn around and say, well, we would have played other people in the FA Cup had we known. They rotated as it was. So what would they have done? I don't understand it. It just seems like complaining for complaining's sake.
Absolutely. All right, Cheeseheads, give us your ideas tomorrow below on some players that you might see coming to Spurs or you'd like to see coming in the January transfer window, if at all. And until next time, look out for the pod, which will be out. Brendan will be doing that after the game on Wednesday night. You've seen the ticker at the bottom. If you want to support us, then please go to our Patreon, and don't forget we've got a link up with footballprices.co.uk that we've got an Ericsson shirt on at the moment. Tickets are $4.95 with the code 10cheese. You get a 10% discount, so that's footballprices.co.uk. Get involved. Till next time, come on you Spurs.
Come on you Spurs.